Guys, there is nothing in the world that I hate more than getting a fraudulent phone call. And man, am I getting a few this week. Call after call after call. Jordan Hair Voodoo.
Ooh. I'm going to rip that jersey off your face and throw it out the window.
Welcome back to the House Divided College Football Show. I'm your host, Micah.
Let's get into call number 1, Miami. I don't know where to start, but Miami lost to SMU, and they were playing at SMU. It was a crazy game, but I am proud of Southern Methodist University. You guys did it great. They were able to win that game in overtime, 26-20. Again, good job. Miami, what are you doing? You guys did not look like Miami. It was just as bad as the Louisville loss, but Louisville actually is a good team, not to say SMU's not. But my problem with SMU is that they're not as good as Louisville, and definitely Miami should not be playing to that level. It was an upset on the road, and just disappointed the Miami Hurricanes. You guys are on fraud alert. I love Mario Cristobal. It's unfortunate. You guys definitely had playoff aspirations in front of you. Now, I do think that you still maybe could fight your way back up to the top, but you got to have a lot of things go your way, and you got to win out. And not saying it can't happen, but you're on fraud alert. Guys, I got to let you know, we have a freeze alert. Hugh Freeze has been fired from Auburn. He is no longer the head coach. We have interim DJ Durkin. We'll see what Auburn does. 3 more games. They've got to play this weekend against Vanderbilt at Vanderbilt. They got to play Mercer. They get a week off, and then they got to play Alabama. Anything can happen. Auburn lost this weekend to Kentucky 10-3, which is quite embarrassing. Kentucky is arguably one of the worst teams in the SEC. And, what are you doing? Mr. Freeze with Cheese over here, he's putting the fries in the bag now. He has been fired from Auburn. No more tea times. Can't get out there and golf you. Should have been coaching your team and building a better culture instead. Now, we could see them go after Tulane's head coach, great coach, John Summerall, who we'll talk about more later because we're actually going to predict that game. But yeah, for sure. Auburn, what are you doing? It was one of the worst performances I have ever seen from the Auburn Tigers. Rightfully should be embarrassed. And when they started chanting "Fire Hugh Freeze," he was done. He was done. When you have former Auburn Tiger and sports analyst Cole Kublik telling you that that's all, folks, like the Looney Tunes, that's all, folks, I just don't know what to say about Auburn's season. Now, I'm not saying they can't go into Vanderbilt and win a game. They do have bounce-back games like that. You have a weight lifted off of you. Some may say that it has been thawed from the freeze. Some may say that the Freeze 5 was the losses that we got along the way. I just don't know where Auburn goes from here. I think this season is over. I think it's a bit of a bust. The only thing you can do is maybe beat Alabama to get some bragging rights at home, but I just don't think that's going to happen. Sorry, Auburn. DJ Durkin's going to be fighting for that job. If not, it'll be John Summerall or somebody like that. Definitely some good coaches out there, but don't know what to tell you, Auburn. Sorry, little bro. Now, with that Auburn game, there was an amazing play right here where they actually intercepted the ball, but then it got stripped, and it was insane, and it was a fumble, and Kentucky was able to get the ball back. Auburn just had a lot of things not go in their favor. Okay, guys, next game recap. We had the Vanderbilt Commodores going to Austin, Texas to play the Texas Longhorns, and this was a game that Texas needed to win, and they were able to win. And that final score ended up being 34-31. Texas controlled most of that game. Diego Pavia made some mistakes. Vanderbilt was not able to get the ball going like they needed to. Texas's defense looked good. And ultimately, Vandy started coming back in the fourth quarter, but it was not enough. They tried for an onside kick, and they were not able to get it. And Texas stood on business, and Texas was able to get the win and put them back in the playoff conversation. Now, we move on to the world's greatest outdoor cocktail party. We're going down to Jacksonville, Florida, to see Georgia versus Florida. And man, I think this is just Georgia. We're getting the Georgia. They're not sleeping. I could be wrong, but I think that Florida has had that weight lifted off of them. Billy Napier is gone. The team looked good. I honestly think that Florida, if they had a redo, they could do better than they did with Billy Napier as the coach. Now, unfortunately, that's not how it works. So, Florida ended up losing that game by 4 points. It was 24-20. Georgia could have made that go up a little more, but they did not out of respect. They stopped at the 1 yard line. Now, that did make some of the bettors at home mad because they did not cover. But there was one pivotal play that I think would have won Florida the game, and it was this moment right here. There was a catch that ultimately was ruled not a catch, but I think he had it. A lot of the world thinks he had it. Now, a lot of people were divided. I've seen multiple angles, and I think that it was a catch. I think Florida was robbed. And ultimately, the Georgia Bulldogs, they just don't look scary to me. And I think a lot of the other teams that they've played have gotten better, especially Alabama. And ultimately, I think if Georgia had to go back and play a few of the teams that they played earlier, they've just gotten lucky. And I don't want to say that they're awful because they're not. They're winning games. That's still what matters. You got to get business done in the critical moments. But the Georgia Bulldogs do not scare me. And I can say that because we beat them. And that's a bit of bragging, but it's true. Can't argue with that logic. I just want to say, oh my, Dabo Swinney not doing good. They lost 46-45 at Clemson. First time that Clemson has lost to Duke since the 1980s at home. That's crazy. Crazy talk. Dabo Swinney is losing ACC games like left and right. It just not look good. He's out here blaming the refs. Dabo, you got to take responsibility for your team. Our next game, which was the Georgia Tech game, they played NC State. Their defense looked the worst that it's looked all season. They couldn't get it going. And NC State was able to take advantage of that, and they had their first loss of the year, making them 8-1 now. I still think Georgia Tech is a good team. They still have a chance to make the playoff, but I think you are going to be under a little bit more scrutiny because you were in the ACC. I wish it wasn't that way, but you guys could fight back. You guys could win out. You guys could even beat Georgia. I think with Georgia being the way that they are, I'm not very impressed with them. I think Georgia Tech can go into Mercedes-Benz where they're playing the game, which is criminal. They should be playing it at home at Georgia Tech or at Athens. That's just, come on, guys. But yeah, I think Georgia Tech could take Georgia's lunch money, and I think they can bounce back from this. But ultimately, they lost. The score ended up being 48-36 in favor of the NC State Wolfpack. Congratulations, Georgia Tech. I still love you guys. I still love Brent Key. I still love Haynes King. But this affects the Heisman. This affects playoff considerations. Guys, come on. You can do better than this. I know you're capable of more, and I'm still fighting for you. Okay, guys, up next, we have a game, and we're going to take a moment of silence for my boy, Dylan Raiola. Dylan Raiola went down and suffered a terrible injury in the third quarter against USC. And honestly, I think before that happened, Nebraska had that game. They were going to win. They were going to be in the talk to be in the top 25 for the playoff. Who even knows, maybe in fighting their way to a potential playoff appearance this year. But unfortunately, the Matt Rule contract extension and the blackout and just the energy they were bringing, it all fell apart in the third quarter when Dylan Raiola went down and he broke his fibula. He's going to be out the remainder of the season. Now, there is always next year, but that stinks for Husker fans. Now, don't count them out because you may not make the playoff this year, but you guys are going to get a good bowl game. You've been impressive. You got some moving parts. You guys need to bring in some stuff, make the team better. There is always next year. But they go to UCLA. We're going to get into that later. And I'm not giving up on the Huskers yet. No, I don't think they're going to make the playoff, but I think they're a good team. Okay, guys, we had the big game, Utah versus Cincinnati, and Utah was able to get the job done at home against Cincinnati. Now, Cincinnati is a good team, but I was proud of Utah. They are still in talks for the Big 12 Conference Championship. That is going to be a deciding factor going into this weekend with the BYU Texas Tech game. And if Utah wins out, there is a chance they could get back in there. Definitely. They ended up winning with a score of 45-14. Good job, Utah Utes. Proud of you guys. Keep it up. Keep fighting. The playoff is anybody's oyster right now. Definitely think that the 12 teams that we saw on Tuesday, not all those teams are going to get in, and the ones outside, some of you guys may sneak in. So keep up the good work. The season's not over. We still have a month of football left to play. And let's bring our all, not just Utah, but all the teams. Okay, guys, moving on. We're going to have a little segment talking about my Heisman update standings. And this comes after some of the games this weekend. I do think that the top three are going to stay the same. If you see the graphic right here, I think that's going to be Ty Simpson, Fernando Mendoza, and Marcel Reed. Now, I will say this. I do think there are some people that are going to be on the outside coming in. Now, Diego Pavia and Haynes King could still be in that fight. So could Oregon's Dante Moore, depending on how that game goes this weekend against Iowa on the road. And then also we have Trinidad Chambliss, rising star of Ole Miss. And then I can't deny the betting odds are saying that Julian Sayin from Ohio State is in the race. I don't think he's going to win it. I honestly don't think he's going to win it because he is too young to win that award. I think they're going to give it to somebody else. I think that's the only reason he wouldn't win it. I don't really think that he is the same as the other people. I think the betting odds are kind of crazy on that. I do not agree with that. So he is not on my list because I just don't think that he's going to be the guy. But give me Trinidad Chambliss, and at 5, give me Dante Moore for this week. The other two, Diego Pavia and Haynes King, you got to earn that back. And for Julian Sayin, sorry, bro, if they ain't wearing crimson, frick them. Okay, guys, it is time for my reaction to the first ever playoff rankings. At number 1, as expected, we had the Ohio State Buckeyes. Number 2, we ended up having Indiana Hoosiers. At 3, we had Texas A&M Aggies. 4, Alabama. Behind them, we had Georgia. Behind that, we ended up having number 6, Ole Miss. At 7, we had BYU. 8, Texas Tech. And then the one I don't agree with, I think they should have been a little higher, maybe 6, was Oregon. And they're only punishing them because of Penn State. I don't think that's fair to Oregon. Now, this weekend, they could prove the committee wrong and go into Iowa and win that game. Iowa is not in the playoff bracket right now, but they are ranked right now in the top 25. And I do think that Oregon has a chance to go out there and win that game and make themselves look better. And to say to the playoff committee, you guys owe us some more respect. And I honestly think the Ducks will get it done. That is jumping ahead, and I will talk more about that. Here's what I think after that. Notre Dame's in there. I think Notre Dame will more than likely stay in. They should win out. And then behind them, we have at 11 Texas and 12 Oklahoma. Now, there's a lot that can happen with that. Both those teams could win out. Both those teams, may make it. They may not make it. They're on the bubble because they are not in the bracket. At number 11, we have to have an ACC representative, and with the shakeups of Georgia Tech and Miami losing this weekend, that does affect a lot of things, and that puts at number 11 Virginia, the highest-ranked ACC team at 14. And then we also have an unranked team right now, and this is going to be affected this weekend as well. We have Memphis. We have the Memphis Tigers at number 12. They are a group of 5 representative. Now, that could change. That could end up being Tulane next week. Depends on what happens this weekend. And yeah, let's just go play football. Let's see what happens. And we'll find out in December on Selection Sunday who's getting into this thing, where they're playing, and how it's going to go down. I love college football. We're almost there. Okay, guys, we had a game that is coming on today, and that is the Tulane-Memphis game. Now, with this prediction, there's a lot that rides on this game. It more than likely will determine who is going to be the G5 team in the playoff. They're going to take that 12th spot to get in and play. And yeah, it's going to be interesting. It's going to be down to Tulane and Memphis. They've both looked really good. John Summerall's a good coach. Memphis, also another good team. Excited to see what's going to happen. But in my pick, I think the most consistency I have seen is from Tulane and John Summerall. His team looks great. He's a great coach. So give me Tulane in this game. I think they're going to make the playoff. We have the Texas Tech Red Raiders playing the BYU Cougars at home. The Mormons are going to Texas to take on a good team of Texas Tech. Now, Texas Tech is great. BYU is also good. BYU is also undefeated. These teams will most likely play again in the Big 12 Conference Championship unless some crazy things happen with the rest of their schedules, and maybe Utah gets back in there. They are in the talks for making the playoff where they are right now. They are both ranked. I think this is Texas Tech's game to lose. I think they are going to put up a good game against BYU. Not to say BYU is not a good team, but I think that Texas Tech will end up winning this game. I'm going to go with Texas Tech. It's home field advantage. They've looked very good this year. They've looked very physical. Not to say that BYU is not a good team, but I think Texas Tech has some strengths that BYU just doesn't in this area where if they control this game, BYU is going to have to hang in. So, Texas Tech. We have a really good game after that. We have the Oregon-Iowa game. Oregon is going to be going to Iowa, and they are going to be playing the Golden Eagles, the Ducks. It's a battle of the birds, and we will see who is dominant. But I do think that Dan Lanning, Dante Moore get the job done. I think it'll be a good game. I think Iowa hangs in. And I think ultimately that the Oregon Ducks will win on the road, but it will be a close game. We have Auburn going on the road with interim coach DJ Durkin to Nashville, Tennessee to play the Vanderbilt Commodores. Vanderbilt is coming off of a loss, so they're going to be mad. They're going to be their backs against the wall to maybe make the playoff. They cannot get another loss after losing to Alabama and Texas. So I think that Auburn is going to show who they really are, and we're going to see if maybe it was Hugh Freeze holding them back with the fact that he wanted to do play calling, or is it a deeper issue with the culture like I think it is? I think Auburn will put up a fight. I think this will be a close game, but I do think that Vanderbilt is going to be mad. Their back's going to be against the wall, and I do think that they're going to win at home. But I do think it will be a close game, and Auburn will put up that fight. I think there's a lot of questions to have around Auburn, around who their quarterback is going to be, just the culture problems, the coaching problem. It's just how I feel about Auburn. Okay, guys, we're getting to my favorite game of the week, which is the Alabama-LSU night game in Bryant-Denny, Tuscaloosa. Man, oh man. Now, there's a lot. LSU, don't want to underestimate them. They are in wounded animal mode, nothing to lose. They have, their interim coach, Frank Wilson, loves the program. They love him. That weight of Brian Kelly has been lifted off of them. I do think this game will be a little bit closer than people think, but it also could be like that Tennessee game that we had at Bryant-Denny at night. It just depends. But I do think LSU is going to put up a fight. I think Bama wins. I think Bama covers. But I do think that LSU will hang in, and then Bama will get things done in that fourth quarter for sure. Got to respect LSU. They're a good team. They're a good school. They're figuring things out. And I hope the best for them. Maybe you're getting Lane Kiffin. Maybe you're getting somebody else. But good luck in your coach search. Continue there. Give me the Alabama Crimson Tide. Ty Simpson, the Tiesmen. They're firing on all cylinders. They got a few things to figure out. But I do not think they have peaked. I do not think they have played their best football. And I trust Kalen DeBoer and the Black Hoodie get the job done at home. He's coming off a bye too, so can't argue with that. Okay, guys, up next we have the Nebraska-UCLA game. Now, Nebraska did lose, but that wasn't a talent issue. That was just unfortunate nature of their quarterback getting hurt. Now, they do have their backup quarterback. He is known to be running the ball. He can run the ball a little bit better. He's not Dylan Raiola in the sense that he can pass the same, but he can run the ball. Maybe they can go out there, surprise UCLA. He is a freshman, and maybe they can go get the job done and win a game that nobody expects them to win. It's going to be a fight. They're going to get a bowl game, but it's going to be a fight to see how many more games they can win this season. But unfortunately, until they prove to me that they can win this game, now they could, and they could prove me wrong, and I really want to look at what they do. Give me UCLA. Okay, guys, we got a couple of games to talk about, and then we're going to wrap up. So we have the FSU-Clemson game. I think FSU is going to win this. I like Gus Malzahn and Tommy Castellanos on the offense better than I like Clemson. Clemson and Dabo Swinney, the Tigers, have been kind of doing a downward spiral, and I don't think that they're going to win this one. But if they do, it'll be a game where they kind of bow up and show that Clemson is not out for the count. Now, they're not going to, of course, probably make a bowl game. I mean, they may. But they're for sure not making the playoff or the ACC championship. But this could be a moment that they need for Clemson. But I think FSU will win. Next, the Texas A&M Missouri game is coming up, and I think that Mike Elko and Marshall Reed are going to end up going into Missouri without Bo Prabula. I don't think that Drinkowitz can get the job done this weekend. I do think Missouri will put up a fight, But and they will make A&M not appear as the sleeping, unbeatable giant that they appear to be. But I also do not think the battered Aggie syndrome is going to kick in. I think A&M is going to make it the playoff, and they will be a good team, and they will be a good team that will go head to head with Alabama in the SEC championship. And I look forward to that. It'll be a great game. Okay, guys, that is the show. Thank you for watching this week. This has been the House Divided College Football Show. This is Micah Olson, your host, and have a good one.